All right. Hello and welcome, everybody. I'm Dr. Phil, and welcome back to CalChiro Live this week. Thanks so much for joining us. We're getting our guest on the line here fairly soon, but I got a couple of announcements for you to get us kicked off and get us started. As you guys know, we have our legislative day, our legislative conference coming up here in just a couple of days. Actually, it's March 25th coming up. It's going to be at the Citizen Hotel in Sacramento. Hopefully, you will get a chance, or we'll put the registration link. And we do have a little bit of an infographic we can show you also on the screen. When Tiffany's ready, she can put up that infographic on the screen regarding legislative conference. But looking forward to seeing you guys there. We will be talking to legislators. We'll be scheduling legislative appointments. There'll be some CE credits available. You'll have a chance to talk to some of the Board of Chiropractic Examiners members. All of those good things are coming up on March 25th here soon. So please join us for that. That's going to be a great day. If you haven't heard what we are going to be talking about regarding our legislative agenda this year, we are sponsoring a bill for animal chiropractic legislation. That's something that Dr. Marissa Palmer has been working hard on and establishing really a law to legalize animal chiropractic, which is there's only a few states at this point that are doing that or that have done that. There's, I think, about 7 that have animal chiropractic laws on the books, but unfortunately, the majority of others are being considered to be practicing veterinary medicine without a license. So it's very eerily similar to the 1920s. So hopefully you can join us for that. We're also going to be talking about the essential health benefits. We still haven't been included in the essential health benefits package in California for at least 15 years since President Obama signed into law the Affordable Care Act. So that's something that we're continuing to lobby and advocate for. And then Medi-Cal inclusion, we still haven't been considered a category of provider in the Medi-Cal space. And so certainly we want to stay top of mind in the legislators' eyes regarding our role that we play in chronic health care, in pain management as far as prescription medications go, and all of those type of things. So we've got a lot of things to talk about. Hope you guys can join us because I'm looking for people that want to stand side by side and really stand up for chiropractic in the eyes of the legislature and really stand up for ourselves and our communities, and I really can tell you that as part of CalChiro, as part of the legislative efforts, it is really what has helped me become more confident and certain in my practice. And it's translated into how I'm able to take care of patients. Oh, there we go. There's our infographic for today. So if you want to join us, please basically scan the QR code and we will go from there. So thanks so much for that, Tiffany. I also wanted to just quickly announce that we have registration open for our fall conference in Disneyland. I really want to see everybody get a chance to come out to that, experience the ground. The Disney Hotel is an awesome experience. To have the opportunity to get a room there under our room block and through that discounted rate should be tremendous. So please make sure that you get signed up for that as soon as you can. The room block is going to go fast. I don't know that we can add additional rooms to the room block, so make sure you do that. But I wanted to get everybody, now that we got all those announcements taken care of, I want to get our guest for today signed in here to the stream. Let me introduce, there he is, Dr. Paul Bararttiero. Did I pronounce that correctly?
Yeah, Bararttiero. Yes, that's perfect.
Bararttiero, excellent. I was practicing, man. I was practicing. So nice to meet you. I'm Dr. Phil Dieter. Thanks so much for being on the stream with us here today. Paul's company is called Echo Water. They're one of our corporate sponsors. So we wanted to, I wanted to get a chance to meet you a little bit more and understand just a little bit more about your organization and your company. So looking forward to today's conversation. Thanks for joining us.
Oh, it's my honor. Thank you very much.
Excellent. Well, why don't we just start a little bit about kind of give us some background on who you are and how you started the company to begin with.
So going back almost 20 years now, in 2005, I was married just about 10 years at that time. And my sweet wife, who is the love of my life, was sick. And she had been sick the first 10 years
Okay.
of our marriage. And so, in the process of helping her heal, is where Echo as a company came from. So, Echo Water, the hydrogen water, now the largest hydrogen water company in the world, was really a result of helping my wife heal.
Okay.
She had thyroid issues, gynecological issues, adenomyosis. She had, all kinds of things. She was very anemic. And so I was able to help her. And as a result of helping her, I said, oh my gosh, there's got to be a lot of other people that need this. And so here we are 20 years later and millions of people. So,
man, that's amazing. Let's just dive into it. And I want you to help us understand, how hydrogen plays a role in our own bodies as an antioxidant and as part of the immune function and that kind of thing. So hopefully this will be educational as well for people,
Oh, hopefully, yes, that's the entire purpose. So we first need to understand that our bodies are designed to create hydrogen in our colon. So, of course, that requires that our gut terrain and biome is correct and that the bacteria in our intestinal tract is proper. And
Sure.
and that's therein lies the issue. About 90+% of the population have a dysfunctioning gut. And so they have immune function issues. They've got antioxidant issues. They've got all kinds of things that are cascading problems from having gut issues. But when we lose the integrity of our intestinal tract, we lose the ability to properly produce hydrogen gas. So flatulence obviously is a combination of methane, hydrogen, and some other things depending on what the diet is. But when we lose hydrogen naturally, that's where we lose the ability of our body to modulate oxidation properly. So, as we all know as doctors, oxidation is normal, but oxidative stress is not. That's when we start to have cell function problems, right? So, hydrogen's primary role in the body is to modulate or reduce or keep in a normal range oxidation.
Okay.
But because we lose the natural production of hydrogen, oxidation rises in the body till we end up with oxidative stress, and then we're going to have inflammation right behind that.
Sure.
And the combination, and why am I leading off with this? The combination of oxidative stress and chronic inflammation is disease. That's the leading cause of disease, is the combination. So hydrogen normally would keep us from contracting pathology in general. But because we have gut damage and because we don't have hydrogen in the body, we don't have immune function. We don't have mitochondrial function. We don't have cognitive function, brain function, the way we're supposed to. We really lose out on many systems in our body, most all systems. So let's talk about that for a second. Even stomach acid, for example, is HCl. So hydrochloric acid requires hydrogen to form. So we can't even make something as simple as stomach acid without having hydrogen. If we go down to a molecular structure or molecular makeup of our body, we are carbon-hydrogen chains.
Sure.
And so without hydrogen, even the building block of our body is problematic. So from a foundational perspective, we need hydrogen. It's critical to life. But when we lose hydrogen, it's because of bacterial issues in our gut. A lot of people talk about gut dysfunction, but what does that really mean? And what it means is the electrical potential of the intestinal tract is wrong, and therefore we have more aerobic bacteria than anaerobic. And because of that, we will have sugar and carb cravings, anxiety, depression. That is a result of aerobic bacteria. So if we can change the terrain and the biome of the gut, then we can have less emotional issues, less behavioral issues. We can have less food allergies. Gluten and dairy issues go away if we repair the gut. But most people don't know how to repair the gut. And if we were just to do that with food, then it could take up to 2 years to really repair the gut or change the terrain and biome enough to where we had a complete gut restoration. Hydrogen can accomplish that in 2 weeks. So if we give patients or individuals water with hydrogen gas, sufficient hydrogen gas and sufficient amount of water, within 2 weeks, gluten and dairy intolerance can be greatly reduced or gone. And that is incredible if you think about what other cascading benefits are going to happen in the body. Yeah. So first of all, that's a huge one is, and we can also understand that if we're changing food allergies or gluten and dairy intolerance, then we're also assimilating food items better, more efficiently, and also supplementation. If we're giving patients supplementation and they're dehydrated or their gut is not functioning, they're not assimilating that. And if they are, it's very small as well. So there are many benefits that will come from having the intestinal tract proper and having proper hydration, which we can accomplish both with Echo Water. Now, if we look at why hydrogen has blown up, because it is now very huge. We're a very large company. We're worldwide, and every athlete you could think of, teams from like the Dodgers, the Raiders use our water, the UFC, Dana White, all these kind of individuals. The greatest soccer players in the world use our water. Ronaldo, right? And people can argue who's number one, him, but Ronaldo's been using our water for a long time. We also have Djokovic, the tennis player, has been using our water for 6 years. We have Devin Booker. We have on and on. Many celebrities, Jake Paul, The Rock, all these kind of individuals are utilizing our water because they don't fatigue at the same rate as they would drinking other sport drinks or other types of water. So there are studies on fatigue with elite athletes, and what they're finding is that if they drink the water 30 minutes before, they're not going to fatigue at the same rate as they did with placebo water, for example. And what we call that is exercise-induced muscle decline. And it really comes down to lactate in the muscles. And some people think that lactate is critical for building, but that's not true. We can build muscle without producing lactate to the point where your muscles stop working. And so what we see in these studies are that there was no increase in lactate. And so they were able to perform longer. They were able to last longer. And so I'll tell you what, if you're in a sport and your muscles work longer and your brain is more accurate and your mitochondria is producing enough ATP, you're probably going to win.
You're going to do better.
Yeah. So long story short, these are some of the things that we do from even pets. We have veterinarian hospitals that are utilizing these because pets get the same disease as we do, and many times, especially cancer and diabetes, which they estimate 50% of our animals, our pets who we love, have cancer and diabetes. And so we can stop that as well by letting them drink the hydrogen water because it can fix their problems as well. So the big question is, how did we go from Dr. Anthony Carlisle in London in the year 1800 discovering water electrolysis?
Right.
And he said that he did that because he was wanting to harvest hydrogen gas because he understood from a medical conference in 1798 that it was an antioxidant. So what the heck happened to us in the world of medicine or in our society that we forgot about that from 1800 till 1950 when there was a 15-year human trial done in Japan in the hospitals to see what would happen to disease models. And at the end of it, they said that they cured improper fermentation in the gut. So this is the main thing that they noticed in 1965 after doing a 15-year human trial in Japan. Well, for those of us in medicine, that says a lot if you're saying that you cured improper fermentation. And they also said that disease models went away, hospital-wide, countrywide. So today, when I started developing hydrogen systems, it was after helping my wife, and it was after a year and a half of study that I did on trying to figure out what the mechanism was that did help my wife. because I used electrolysis, water, for example, and I learned that it was hydrogen. So in 2009, by 2009, 4 years later, after I had helped my wife, 4 years later, I was creating the first machine called the Echo 7 and started lecturing and talking about hydrogen, and everyone thought I was completely nuts until 2009 when Nature Medicine published the first big study on hydrogen. And what that study showed that it was a selective antioxidant. And that surprised everyone because we all understand what an antioxidant is. We understand that it's an electron donor. However, hydrogen does not have an extra electron. Hydrogen does not act like a normal antioxidant.
Right.
So they published this study showing that it was a selective antioxidant. And what selective means in this case is that hydrogen only reacts with cytotoxic or cell damaging oxygen radicals. In other words, it was an impressive ROS scavenger, but the most impressive part was that it only reached and reacted with cytotoxic or cell damaging oxygen radicals, not radicals that had a physiological role in the body. So this was a big deal because it was an antioxidant or it had antioxidant effects, but it did not bother good things in the body. So this started the process of now what is 1,420 studies since 2009 on 200 disease models showing a positive effects or eradication of disease models. So we can go down the list. Cancer, 125 studies. Diabetes, 75 studies. Parkinson's, 22 studies. Just to give a few nasty, nasty diseases that have multiple studies showing hydrogen to be anti-cancer, to be helpful with IGT or impaired glucose tolerance and type 2 diabetes mellitus, as well as Parkinson's. Now, the thing that we need to understand is that hydrogen itself is not doing the heavy lifting.
Okay.
It is a second messenger. In other words, hydrogen is a signal modulator. It's like a manager. It is modulating pathways. It is telling or causing other things to work the way they are supposed to. And that's why we see huge benefits. Now, I started out this conversation talking about oxidative stress and inflammation.
Sure.
We know that's the leading cause of disease. So you have 1,420 studies now saying hydrogen reduces oxidative stress and inflammation. And of course, it's then going to affect the disease models that are caused by oxidative stress.
Okay.
But within each disease or pathology, there are additional pathways that are being affected that are the reason why we have so much benefit. So let's take cancer, for example. When we have a healthy cell, apoptosis is working, right? We all understand what apoptosis is, but somehow when a healthy cell becomes a cancer cell, apoptosis is turned off. Well, hydrogen turns that back on.
Okay.
And so you end up having cancer cells destroying themselves. And so in the one study I like to show with colon cancer, when they combined 5-fluorouracil, which is a chemotherapy, and hydrogen together, there was 100% cancer cell death. And that's because cells are destroying themselves because apoptosis was benefited.
Right.
And so that's cancer. When we talk about type 2 diabetes mellitus or type 1, but effectively they show that lipid and glucose metabolism is benefited. They're also reducing oxidative stress and inflammation. And there was a 15.5% reduction of cholesterol. Well, that just we make sense because we know that they've reduced oxidative stress systemically. And so the vessels, the venous system is no longer lacking plasticity and is no longer going to hemorrhage. And so the body can pull back that fat that it put there as a patch in the first place.
Okay.
Now, when we talk about Parkinson's, for example, in the study where the one study of 22 studies where it said that hydrogen has disease-modifying effects with Parkinson's. But it was not because hydrogen was going to the brain, or what we call striatal hydrogen. There was no hydrogen going to the brain. It was ghrelin secretions. So what they saw was that as soon as you drink hydrogen water, when it hits the stomach within minutes, 3 minutes or so, hydrogen stimulates gastric ghrelin to go up to the hippocampus, the hypothalamus, and the brainstem. And you have cognitive function changes. You have alpha and beta wave changes. You have plasticity, 32%. You have the entire landscape of the brain. I have a BrainMaster 2100, 21 channel unit, and you can literally watch with an EEG, you can watch the brain change almost before your eyes because it's that fast of a transformation
Wow.
because of ghrelin. So
that sounds amazing. Well, I wanted to, I'm learning so much right here, but I wanted to kind of touch on a couple of other things here because,
sure.
Well, we've got about 9 minutes or so to go. So I wanted to just get your thoughts on how does this, because I'm intrigued, how does this work like in conjunction with probiotics? Because you're talking about gut dysbiosis and all these things that a lot of us understand or maybe have had some exposure to, have probably largely been trained to treat them with probiotics and that kind of thing. I want you to talk a little bit about dissolved hydrogen as well, because I think that's an interesting concept that maybe not everyone understands.
Sure.
But we also got to give away some money today before we go. So let's make sure we do that in the next 10 minutes. So go ahead.
Great. So probiotics and prebiotics are excellent. The problem with them is it's a Band-Aid in most cases.
Okay.
Because if the person is not properly hydrated, probiotics aren't going to do much anyways. So first of all, we need to get patients and individuals properly hydrated for probiotics to work. If we look at most probiotics or humic acid in general, it's producing hydrogen. So we need to understand that they're not going to accomplish if they can't take hold in the gut. So just because we're seeding or just because we're putting biotics or probiotics or prebiotics into the intestinal tract, if the intestinal tract does not have the appropriate electrical potential, let's say negative 300 millivolts to negative 400 millivolts in the intestinal tract, you're not going to have those beautiful bacteria creating systems or colonies or communities because they don't have the appropriate biome or terrain. So I don't have an issue with probiotics. I don't have an issue with prebiotics, but you need to be giving the patients hydrogen water to begin that process.
Sure.
And I can tell you without probiotics and prebiotics, you can reestablish the terrain and the biome and you can fix a gut. However, there is nothing in the world wrong. When we start looking at probiotics, there are about 1,000 different probiotics you can choose. And so I particularly have a little bit of fun because I'm properly hydrated and because my gut is appropriate, I can take different types of probiotics that do different things. If we really start to study which strain of bacteria, we can start to change the diversity of bacteria in our gut because some of these bacteria process sugar extremely well. Some do carbohydrates. So there's all kinds of different strains of bacteria that you can purchase and get into your gut. And as long as you're properly hydrated and you have an appropriate electrical potential, you can have some fun with that. So I'm all for that.
Cool. Well, tell us a little bit too, because I'm just curious. I know I've seen you at some of the different events that we've had. I'm really thankful that you've been a corporate sponsor. What are you envisioning? How are you envisioning chiropractors helping you promote this and sell this in their offices maybe, or just what does that look like for you?
So what that looks like in the perfect world, was what I hope we can accomplish in California, because it's a great state to do this, is to get a hydrogen device into a practice.
Okay.
And what I would envision is having a reverse osmosis system with a hydrogen right behind it. So we purify that water and then we put some hydrogen, put 1.5 parts per million of hydrogen gas in it, get your patients drinking that. If you give them a glass of that in the waiting room, by the time they are in your treatment room, hydrogen's already taking effect. And so it's going to change your care. It's going to perfectly complement chiropractic care, ligament laxity, all these types of things. And so after that, then I would say the easiest way for the chiropractors to get one of their patients using is to use a device like this. This is our Echo water, what's called the Echo Flask.
Okay.
And this, you put purified water in, and you can kind of see the bubbles coming up right there.
Okay, yeah.
Those are only hydrogen because oxygen is coming out on this port right there in the bottom. Okay. So just we're dissolving 8 parts per million of hydrogen gas. And once this runs, someone can drink that. And this is something that chiropractors can get wholesale, have in their location, and sell it to a patient, because it's perfect for skeptical people and it's perfect for people that want something right now. It is far less expensive than the tablets that are on the market. This would cost you $299 and you have it for 5 years. If you were to buy tablets for the same amount of time period for one person, you're talking about anywhere from $1,500 to $2,000 in that same 5-year period. And so this is far better. They can travel with it. They can take it wherever they go. So this would be the least expensive way for a chiropractor to get their patients using water. And typically we find within 90 days, once they have the benefits and they're experiencing all the health and wellness benefits, they will typically get an additional device that's more capacity within 90 days. So there's great revenue going to the chiropractor.
Okay, now I'm I'm so glad we had this talk today, because I feel like I learned so much, and there's so much more to learn. I think we maybe need to get you set up for like a webinar or something like that, because I feel like there's so much more to wrap our heads around here. So, but this makes a lot more sense to me now. But I wanted to, before we want to give away some money here shortly, or try to give away some money. I wanted to have you let everybody know, how do they get a hold of you if they wanted more information. Tiffany's got your website up there, but tell us how we connect with you, or what's your social channels.
So we have our website, ecowater.com. We have an amazing YouTube channel that has hundreds of videos with different chiropractors that are on there. You've got, for Master Circles, you've got wonderful interview that I did. You've got, Fab Mancini. You've got so many different chiropractors that are going over different studies, going over different things. And then, of course, myself, I'm not a chiropractor, but I'm an ND. And so I'm able to go over things like that. But the point that I'm making is we have tremendous hundreds of videos that you can watch on oxidative stress, on inflammation, different questions that are answered. And so I am absolutely happy to do webinars, because then I can show the studies themselves and we can go through the pathology and really get into it and show some products and things like that. So I am here for California chiropractors. And really, the whole reason I started Echo initially was to get chiropractors going. And of course, when Joe Rogan talked about our water 2 years ago, it blew us up as a company at 10x our monthly sales. And of course, that's wonderful, but I still love chiropractors. I still love chiropractic, because I was receiving chiropractic care in high school. One of the doctors in our area who was part of our church, I was going as a high school student. And so I've always loved chiropractic. And so I would love to do whatever we can do to have chiropractors educating their patients and clients, depending on the situation, on water, proper hydration, and more importantly, how to live the best life with having hydrogen back in their body.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, thank you so much. I like I said, I learned a lot. I feel like there's so much more to learn. I feel like this is just the start of that journey in our relationship. So thank you for coming on today. I really appreciate it. And I'm looking forward to interacting with you more and meeting in person sooner rather than later. So
awesome.
Well, I wanted to just remind everybody, if you get the chance, or if you have the opportunity to join us next Tuesday, March 25th, for our legislative conference. That's going to be very important in terms of moving some of these initiatives forward that we have on our legislative agenda: animal chiropractic, the Affordable Care Act inclusion, and Medi-Cal inclusion. So please take the opportunity to join us. Maybe Tiffany can put the link to the registration for legislative conference in the chat, and we can okay, Paul put some hydrogen studies. Can you put that in the chat, Paul? Let me see if I can put that in the chat, or Tiffany might be able to put that in the chat later once we start giving away some money.
Yeah, one thing for the nerds out there like I am that want to really look at these studies, I developed a website, and it is hydrogen.com, and it's got all the studies. You can parse it by country, by outcome, by organ, by pathway, whatever you want to be studying. And what I like to see is the chiropractors, if they know they've got a patient with a certain pathology, they can go in there real quick, put it in, see a study, look at the conclusion, and then go be the hero with that patient in the treatment room.
Great. Well, we got a lot of good feedback in the chat. So I know that there's going to be more questions and people checking it out as we talk more. So all right, well let's try to give away some money here today.
I love that.
Yeah, remember, like I said, if you want to register for the fall conference, go to CalChiro's webpage. You go to your CE21 account. You have to make sure you're logged in so you get the member pricing. So today, remember that we're going to try to give away $500. And to win the money, you have to be a member. You have to be on the broadcast right now. You have to respond in the chat within 30 seconds. So I think we're ready. We're going to try to roll 5 names today. Let's do the first one. Don Smalley, you're our first winner today. We'll see if Don's with us to come and collect his money today. Thanks again, Paul, for being with us, man. It was very informative, very informative. I feel like so much to learn here.
Oh, it's my pleasure. Thank you. And, we're here to support you all. We have wholesale teams. We have all the things for you, training, everything. So thank you very much.
Oh, my pleasure. All right. Well, we're getting down to 5 seconds here. I know everybody that's with us in the chat's probably excited that Don's not here today, but let's do name number 2. I don't see Don in the chat. Jeffrey Paul Phillips, you are name number 2. You've won $500, but we'll have to see if you're here to claim your prize today. This has been a lot of fun. We always enjoy doing these kind of things. I think it's really been this one's been particularly informative. I want to learn more about how to maybe put something together in the office where you can give patients water before they come in to get adjusted. I think that offers a lot of that one kind of intrigued me when you brought that up. So I want to learn more about that. But all right,
Absolutely.
No Jeffrey Paul Phillips today. Let's do name number 3. Name number 3 coming out. I feel like I'm ready for Ron Barak. Ron Barak, you're name number 3. Let's see if Ron's here with us today. I don't know if you can give me the succinct version of how we get the filtered water kind of hydrogen infusion thing in our office, but I'd be curious to hear about that maybe in the next 30 seconds as soon as we get through this name. I think this was name number 3. We got 2 more names to roll after this, but doesn't look like Ron's here with us. Let's do name number 4, right, Tiffany? Name number 4, I believe. Joseph Dalloway. Joseph Dalloway, you are name number 4. Give me the 30-second version of how we do that in our office, like I was saying.
So we have many ways to do it. We have countertop devices. We have under sink. We can help the chiropractors if they don't have a water line.
Okay.
We have a pump that will connect to a 5-gallon bottle that can pump into the machine. So we have every opportunity for them. We have a wholesale team that can help guide them through all of it. I can even help them if they want to reach out to me directly or get with the staff and ask them to connect me. I'm here for your doctors.
All right. Perfect. All right. Doesn't look like Joseph's here with us today. So let's do name number 5 for the $500. Julie Brown. Oh my gosh. I think I saw Julie on here. Sorry, I get a little excited, Paul, when I see somebody I know. I know Julie's going to hang out with us at Legislative Conference. She's been so helpful on our CE committee as well. If any of you guys are looking to get involved in helping us put on events, reach out to me. I'd love to talk with you guys more about that, and especially this Legislative Conference next week. Super important. Well, if Julie Brown is not here, that means next week we are going to try to give away $600. It really starts getting fun when the prize pool goes up. I don't see Julie here with us today. Thanks so much again, Paul, for being with us. I really appreciate it. Any final thoughts before we head out?
No, I'm just grateful for the organization. Thank you for the time. And hopefully I will get lucky enough I can present on the main stage at one of the conferences and we can really educate the doctors in California.
Yeah, I think there's a lot to learn here, so I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah. Thank you very
All right,
much.
have a good afternoon.